Delaware wing T. But just to give you a brief profile, he has won Coach of the Year 3 times and has won 3 national titles at Delaware. And we could go spend the entire hour going over his resume, but we want to share some time with Tubby Raymond from Delaware University.
I don't know why not. I'd rather hear you than me, as long as you're going to talk like that. Now, you tell me, is that all right? Okay. Well, that was sure a nice introduction. I'm going to do the best I can. I just woke up. And after having eaten hot dogs down there, I don't know if anybody else got, there were a couple of guys that were in there, I guess. Now, that's tough fare. But anyway, well, I'm here, and so if I tell you it's nice to be here, and I'm happy to see you, you'll know that it bears special significance. I'm delighted to be anywhere, and it's kind of surprising that I could see anything in. I want to. I'd like to make a contribution to you, and I know that some of you probably know this offense better than I do and have been running it as long. Others of you are in here so you can learn how to defense it, and still others are just staggered in and don't know where you are. How many of you have run our offense at some time or other? How many of you are interested in defensing it? Boy, you guys are in for a treat, because I got the pencil. There's no way you're going to stop me up here. I should say, as an introduction, a summary about our offense, people have asked me, why don't they run this, if your offense is so good, why isn't it run all over the country? And I think I'd be glad to answer the question for you. If we're going to coach in the NFL, and we have those great receivers, and I'm always 10 years behind, so if I say Lynn Swan was a great receiver. Does anybody remember Lynn Swan? You got Lynn Swan, you got a couple of Lynn Swans out there. You don't want to bring them in close and muddy the water. You want to get them out there where they can do their thing. And then if you got Aikman and some of those guys at quarterback, you don't want to fool around in there with all that junk going on in the middle. You want to let them do their thing. So you got a guy spread out there and a guy spread out there, and they're great athletes. You got one running back here, and you got a great quarterback. And I've just never felt that we could plan on that kind of material. I guess that's a fair assumption. Not many of us do. So that when you start to spread people, you raise the skill requirements, and if they're excuse me, if they can handle it, hey, you're really in business. But if you want to share skill responsibilities, you're not sure what you're going to have from year to year, and you'd like to maximize the abilities that you have, then we've got a pretty good idea. And it stood the test of time. The complement of copy, we're delighted with being alive, still being alive with it. I should preface any remarks by telling you that I'm not interested I'm not an evangelist. I'm not selling it. As a matter of fact, I think that one of the things that have made us successful is that we're a little bit unique in a day when everybody is trying to emulate somebody else, and they give up on the ground game a little bit because they're rushing the passer all the time. You look at those stats nationally, and they're just throwing the ball all over. We've got people in our opening ball game last year. Our opponents ran the ball only 6 times in the whole ball game, and so that when we come in with a running attack and run blocking with shoulder skills that we think gets better as you go through the year, and I think we have an advantage. So once again, I'm not trying to sell it, and I'm here to pass the weekend so that I can get on to a spring vacation. I'm going to go to the Cayman Island and get all brown as a berry and forget all about football. So that's really why I'm here. As a matter of fact, this evening they're going to pay for my meals down there. So that handles that nicely. But getting back to our offense, you could call us a four-back offense if you like. Certainly, when they say we see a lot of no-back offense, we went out to Montana at the end of the year in the national 1AA tournament, and boy, there's trips there and double wing there, and the guy's standing back there with the ball. I center the ball to him. He just throws it. Remind me of that playing touch football in high school, where you just center the ball and just let her go. And the guy was great. And we ended up winning the ball game 48-49. Nobody ever asked me to talk about defense. And I don't know why. I really think maybe that's my forte. But at any rate, we're a four-back offense, and we're series or sequence football. There's nothing grab bagging. In spite of all the stuff I'm going to show you, some of the stuff I'm going to show you tonight, you say, "Whoa, wait a minute! Now this is not the wing tee I heard of." I'm going to show you what we're doing new and the directions we're going. And in spite of that, they all fit these categories. We're maximizing the skill of our people. It's basically a four-back offense at virtually all the time. And we're trying to make the best of what we got. And we've had some great quarterbacks. I think perhaps you should know that. We had three NFL quarterbacks in an 8-year period. And one was Comlo that started 14 games in the NFL for Detroit the year that he got out of Delaware, and the next was Brunner, who was his backup, and he took the Giants to their first playoffs in a number of years. And remember, he had an edge on Sims there for a while before he got hurt. And then the third one is Gannon, who's kind of having his trouble now. They got rid of him in Minnesota, and he's down there struggling with Washington now. But that's pretty good for us, and those guys are fairly decent quarterbacks, and still we got what we wanted out of it. They made a great contribution to our program, and I think that you should recognize that when we have particular styles of quarterbacks, we can just flip right over and go right on with them, so that there's a wide variety of possibilities here. And probably I feel like a fake calling this the wing tee. We kept the name because it's been a very saleable commodity for us. It's helped us in our recruiting. And those basic principles still do the job for us, even though we're doing a lot of things. But we kept the name wing tee for those reasons, and away we go. Now, I got to tell you one more joke. I got to tell you one more story. It's an absolute truism. I spoke in Chicago about 7, 8 years ago. And it wasn't this building. It wasn't this hotel. And I walked in there and I thought, my God, you've arrived. There's about 3,000 coaches out there. And I can't believe it. I'm looking out there, and they're all there. And I'm supposed to go on at 1:10, and at 1:10 the master of ceremonies come up. Which master says, "We're going to have a little ceremony here. If you could just be patient with us for just a second." And he says, "And ladies or gentlemen, I want you to meet Walter Payton, the great running back of the Chicago Bears." In comes Walter Payton. They're going to give him a trophy. So they gave him the trophy, and everybody got up and left. And I got just about the size of crowd I got right here. So there's an advantage to this, though. If you got something you want to ask me, be sure you do it. Just because, frankly, I'd rather listen to you than me. So let's take a look then at what we used to call at some traditional formations. Yeah, those are good circles, aren't they? Look at that. Okay, there's the grandfather of them all. Although when I first started coaching at the University of Maine, we didn't have any spread receivers at all. And as a matter of fact, we're getting ready to play a real tough football game, and it didn't look like we were going to have a chance at all. And I made the ridiculous suggestion about 2 o'clock in the morning, let's spread our end way out there. Somebody will have to go out and cover them, then we don't have, they're so damn tough, then we don't have to worry about only 10 of them that way. At least we got rid of one of them. And, oh, what a good idea. And then finally Harold Westman, as our head coach, says, well, what if nobody goes out there with him? I said, well, we'll take the ball and throw it out there to him. He says, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you're going to take the ball here and throw it all the way out there to that guy? And that was the beginning of it. But that was the basic formation. And I will remind you that those splits are a little bit wider now. The guards are split at 2 feet, and then they can go to 3. The tackles are split at 2 feet, and they can go to 3. And the tight end is split at 3 feet, and he can go up to 6 feet based on the problems and what we see. The fullback's toes are at 4 yards. The left halfback in this case, he's lined up right even with the fullback. His toes are at 4 yards. The wingback is all of our wingbacks are the same, whether it's in the second formation here, where the wingback is to the spread end, or whether it's to the tight end, as you see here. His outside foot is 2 yards outside, a normally spaced tight end, and his nose is 2 yards off the ball. So he's back a little bit, and he's out a lot wider, so that when the spread end spreads and the wingback is still there, there's a sizable gap in there, and gives him some freedom to release in the patterns and do some of the other things that you could possibly do. So there were the 2 basic formations. The next thing we did with this was say, hey, we can do most of our stuff with a double wing, and by bringing people back in motion. I think this is a good time to tell you that we're doing all kinds of things I said we'd never do. Here's our cadence. The first aspect of our cadence is on sound, and the quarterback just comes up there and says, set, and the ball goes. If he wants motion with that, he gives him a heel signal and sees him out of the corner of his eye. When he sees he's just about where he should be, then he says, set, and we got it. And we did that because we want to shift, want to do a lot of shifting, and I don't get plays in very fast in the sideline. All the people are yelling at me, get the ball, call a play, get the... So when we used to have all that rhythmic stuff, it took too long. So this is the fastest way we could get it. Now the next way we do it is to have a little rhythmic cadence of even set. We call that 1. So the quarterback says on set, on sound, which is automatically set, or he can say on 1, which is even set, and the ball hits his hands on set, and we do that. And there's some reasons for that. He doesn't have to give the heel signal with that, but they do. They practice it, they get it underway, and they just do it automatically. And the third way of getting the ball off is check cadence. Check cadence is like this. Nothing makes any difference at all until a quarterback says check. So he comes out over the ball and he says, set, even set, go, whatever. Or he can call a number, followed by check. Once he says check, then it goes automatically either on sound or 1. And for the week, say we're going on 1 on all check cadence. Now check cadence then is a new addition, relatively new addition to our offense, and it does a handful of things for you. First of all, if the quarterback is controlling the clock and he wants to get out over the ball, he calls it on check cadence, and he's just looking up there watching that clock run down. So you're going to get an automatic extended cadence if he wants it. If he's been going a lot on 1, even set, or sound, and he wants to come out and say that to break up the rhythm of the defense, he can do that. And finally, it gives us an opportunity to call audibles. And we use it in the 2-minute drill, and we can get to the 2-minute drill and for a one-shot deal, maybe 1 or 2 plays in the ball game, come right out there and say, 124 got, 124 got, check, even set, and you get that play right there. You wanted to call on the ball. And obviously we wouldn't do that very often, but if we have that capability. Well, this technique then now gives us a chance to call audibles, and the only audibles that we have ever done or feel comfortable in doing is say we're either going to run at that flank or that flank. And we don't have any method of mayday, ho, baby, I want to get out of here. We don't do that. Because theoretically the offense, by or by way of word assignments, we can run against anything. Now, you and I know that's ridiculous. You can't do that successfully, but that's our approach. And then we'll use audibles, and I'll show you at flanks. I'll show them. So that was the move, and then we started to think, well, if I can run this formation with this man, go say we run over here, and this guy's out here essentially doing nothing, could I run the same play by bringing him over and showing unbalance? So we moved into that. And here you have an unbalanced formation at the top with a tight end. And then we found out that there are times we had two spread receivers this year. Both of them were very fine players, and sometimes perhaps we thought maybe we're not getting as much out of our tight end as we'd like, so we wanted to do some loose. So we did that and ran our basic offense from loose. And we figured, well, if you can go unbalanced up here, and obviously this guy's ineligible because he's outflanked by that spread end. But on this side over here, we have a receiver that can get out that way, and we have two people out here, and what more do you want? So, I mean, that worked out all right. So we used this formation with two spread ends, and we could still run our basic offense. I'll show you what I mean by that. And then we figured, well, if we could do this up here, surely we can do the same thing down here with two spread receivers. So that guy's ineligible as they sit right there. And most of the time, the defense recognizes that. Sometimes they don't, and about a third of the time the officials are aware of it, and we try to alert them to stay alive and stay in the ball game, but we're trying to get a better job from that. But at any rate, these formations have given us a great deal of help and have made some significant contributions. The next thing we're doing now with these formations then is we're changing the formations often, and the latest and the best thing that we've done is to put everybody on the line of scrimmage. So the defense comes out and takes a look at that, and they don't know what you're going to do. Now, of course, you got two people ineligible here as it sits, and only one here. But if you bring, if for example, you bring him up on the line of scrimmage here, and you bring him back like that, and leave that guy there, then you can do the things that you want to do and change it, or bring him up and bring him off, and or leave him on, bring that guy, bring him back and bring this one back. Then you have trips there. 3 people that are eligible on that side. And so by just stepping on and stepping off, and the best way we've done is to step off, set everybody up in line of scrimmage, so the last second the guy steps back, and then we run the play. And that has made a significant contribution to us. Well, let's take a look at if I can find where I am here. Now, I mentioned, did I mention defensive conflicts? So this has always been part of our offense. The defensive conflict is where if a defensive player reacts in such a way as to stop a particular play, he makes himself vulnerable for a companion player plays. And I'm using this introduction to this lecture to show you what I mean by that. And if you have other spacings that you'd like to see and see how we block it, be sure you let us know. Let me know. Now, as an example, and it's not our best flank play anymore, but it used to be. I'm going to show you the buck sweep, and and use that as an example and show you where we go from there, because here are two people, that man and that man, that are both outflanked by offensive players, and if they react in such a way to work their way out so they can't be blocked down, then they're going to be trapped inside. I guess that's about the best way I can show you. And I want to remind you that, or show you how the buck sweep operates from here. The wingback's assignment is to block the first free man who's inside. Now, by that I mean if this, he's just going to take a step with his left foot, and I don't have time to give you all the details, but we are a very detailed offense. Our coaching is very detailed. He takes a step with his left foot. His inside foot is back. He looks something like this. Takes a step directly for the outside leg of the two-man. Incidentally, I won't get involved in our numbering system, but you can see that we number our players 2, 3, 4. The center is 5, 6, 7. And if we had an end there, it would be 8. And that helps us with our numbering system. If you want to know anything about the numbering system, you can ask me later. But he comes down there like that to block the first free man. And he gets his head across, and so that he's blocking with his right shoulder. That's his first thought, is to block with his right shoulder. You might ask me, and now we're all blocking with our hands now. Is that right? Everybody blocks with their hands. We made some experiments with the technique and found that any time we're blocking down and we're going to move somebody, we're using the shoulder. Boom. Now, we may finish off with our hands, but we're much better with the size of our guys to use the shoulder and the forearm, so we get that block. Now, if this man stunts out of here like this, he just lets him go, and he just goes right on in and blocks the first free man who's inside. Gap down are these assignments for both the end and the tackle, the two-man and the three-man. They take a step with their inside foot, they check the gap. And down means that for the two-man here, as he goes to block that tackle, if he feels that tackle is going right down or doing anything but coming right out at him, he won't block him. He'll go right on up and block the backer. And now that the tackle goes down, now he can't block that backer, but he can block the backside backer who chases, or he can block the nose man who chases. The front side guard pulls, gets 2.5 yards of depth. He reads the tail of the right halfback, and he kicks out on the first thing that he sees. The wide out will just drive right on off and stalk block. Now, I don't want to give you a bunch of terms you can't use, one thing I think we ought to do someday is somebody ought to write an anthology of football terms so everybody knows what you're talking about. Some of those young guys get in there and start throwing those words around and say, whoa, wait a minute, just tell me what it is. I don't care what you call it, I just want to know, what's happening. So this is stalk block, which means he just runs right at that receiver, and the minute when the receiver realizes that he's not releasing into a pattern, and then he comes on up like this, and he uses his hands, and the five-man reaches and is responsible for that gap, and the fullback goes up there and is responsible for that gap. The backside guard pulls. He also reads the wingback, and he'll turn back in and wall off. The backside tackle steps down, and he goes and blocks out. Here he comes in motion. And there he goes. Quarterback continues to bootleg out that direction. Now the running back comes out there and he sees the hole. He looks first at the right halfback, see where he's walling up. It doesn't make any difference where he walls off. He's just going to wall off wherever he sees where the wall off is taking place. And the next block he looks is the guard kicking out, and that's his initial hole, although he could go on up in here. He could go on out up there, or he could fake both those and run outside of all of it. Now, in this case, of course, it looks like the strong safety is going to come up there and we'll kick him out. Okay, now, here's an example of audibles. In this case, we think we've got a decent shot at it, but a lot of folks are doing some things like this now. Now that's a formidable flank out there, and I don't want to run out there. And we've had some people ask us, well, how can I run the play against this defense? I want to run this buck sweep. I'm not interested in what then plays we're going to run. I wouldn't care a bit if we ever ran that play again. If they want to play like that, I don't want to run out there. You got an extra backer right there, and this guy's coming across to take the wing back on, and it's a lousy play. So when we put a play in, like 121, we put in the opposite play along with it, 29. So this happens to be right 21, and if we call right 29, we'd go the other way. So the technique then would be, we'll call right 21, and everybody knows the plays are all put in companions. All those flank plays that go in with a companion play. If he goes to huddle, it says right 21. On the ball, check cadence. Everybody says, uh-oh, could be 21, could be 29. And we came out and we saw this, and then he'd take a look at that and he'd say, 29, 29, check. Give his heel fit for the right half, heel signal for the right halfback to go in motion, and we would run 29, and everybody would run the same assignments. That as the tackle goes down, and here they've got all kinds of problems here. He's got a shot at him, he's got a shot at him. He comes out to kick him out. That's a pretty good football play. And let me tell you something else. I don't want to be smart and silly, and I'll tell you, I'll be very honest about it. I've been embarrassed by everybody, any kind of defense, all kinds of situations. I've experienced all the embarrassment that anybody could ever experience in a game. So I don't want you to leave and thinking I'm a wise guy and got all the answers. But if you work at something like this and you got everybody over there in defense playing pass rush, that's what you're getting now. They're all running, they're all going like this, and you just keep right on going, because it's very difficult for them to settle in and get down into shoulders and meeting things because you're different than most of them. Now let's take a look at some of the other things that can go with it. Our best football play. Now I know you're not going to believe me. I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm a long way from home. I can say anything you want. Who stole my pen? We're not going to move the ball if I don't find that pen. I got it back in the pocket. This play was our leading. First of all, we ran about 60% unbalanced this year. And the play that I'm going to give you, the fullback up the middle, was our best play statistically. It made more yards. It was more efficient. And here's what it looks like. It's called 24 is the fullback up the middle, off the 20 series. 21 is the sweep out there. 29 is the sweep around the left side. 24 is up the middle, and the term gut tells you what kind of blocking it is. The front side guard pulls. Why? Because there are a lot of people who say, hey, the way to stop this is get in there and see those guards. When that guard moves, you just take off and fill over there. Well, this guy does that. He runs over there and does that. And this one steps down just like he did before, and he steps down just like he did before, and he steps down just like he did before, and everybody thinks it's going to be that sweep again. And the 5-man blocks him by himself any way he wants to go. And the 6-man pulls. And as he pulls, he watches the nose man. So here I am. I'm the 6th, and I can't get down. I'm not going to get down in the 3-point stance. Just imagine I'm in a 3-point stance. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to read that nose man. And if he's going that way, I'm just going to sweep right on up and block that backer. If the nose man is stunned and is coming this way, or he's just sitting there, then I'll go right around his tail and block the backer from the backside. So it will look like something like this. The 7-man steps inside, and he's going to go to the backer. But if he goes inside and he does it with authority, then the man on him can't get to the fullback anyway. So then he moves on up. Now the fullback comes out of there, and he runs right straight up. He runs right straight up the chute and reads the nose man. Everybody's looking like 21. And if he sees the nose man, it's going to stay where he is, and he turns right on up in there. If he sees the nose man go that way, then he just turns right back in there and uses that block and goes there. Again, we've used it on the goal line. And two things happen. One is it's set up repeatedly, but it also makes it possible when you run 21, you don't have to block him at all. And we run against some people, and that tackle just step right down there and look for the fullback. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now we're going to run up. Now we're going to run up the middle. We'll call guard trap, and I'm going to mess up this picture, but if we call guard trap, then he would go on and trap, and the front guard wouldn't pull. He'd block down, and we'd block the backer, so you'd actually trap it and run up the middle. If we get an active nose man, we'll run on. We get just nose man just running around, we'll just run on. A few years ago, we're making a center. We have to make a new 5-man. So I said, well, I've got a drill. I'll set up this drill. I've got a fullback and this new center we had and the nose man. Put 2 dummies on either side and restricted the area, and had a couple fullbacks there. And I figured, well, we're going to get the center's going to snap that ball. He's got to take that nose man on, and I'm going to make a center. Well, it became very evident that the nose man could not tackle a fullback. As a matter of fact, somebody blew the whistle and said, "Hey, we need those fullbacks over here in our drill period." I went back there and ran the fullback. The guy can't get to him with the nose man. Are you with me? Do you understand what I mean? Just goes right up there and read that center's block, and he starts to go one way, and then he goes that way, and you go that way, and it's just ridiculously easy. So we do run on, and we do run gut, we do run guard trap. Here's another picture of that. I don't know. Do you see this defense? That's the Miami 4-3. Do you see that? Anybody see that? He blocks down. This guy pulls. He steps down to block him. Where does this guy go? Always. He runs out just like that. Move up to block the backer. He steps around, blocks the backer. There goes the fullback. Okay? Now at the same time, like I said, I'm not going to be too silly here. If you play this defense and play it well, it hurts our sweep. So you block down on him, and he goes down out the backer, and if he comes off, he goes to the backer because nobody blocks him. Pull him out like that, and he runs up there. If he does it real tight and hard and picks up that guard, when he comes on up, it's not a good the sweep is not a good football play. So we see that we don't run it, but this is exceptional. The fullback up the middle with gut blocking is exceptional. This guy on our offense this year, he's been the leading ground gainer on our offense for the last 5 or 6 years. He had like 1,300 yards this year, just short of that. And he happens to be a good football player. He's making a coach out of me. I like him. Yes?
Do you ever see an even front, like Notre Dame's old split six see anything like that?
I'll tell you something. See, now I'm going to be smart again. We don't see it anymore. We used to see it a lot, but they can't stop inside, and they can't stop that fullback up the middle, and they can't stop. You have great angles out here with this.
You trap it then with the fullback?
Well, if I get this and this, we won't trap that. We'll go like that, and that, and that, and that. I mean, that's our favorite way of blocking them. Well, you say, well, you can't get down the field fooling. You do that 3 or 4 times, and they're not going to chase. Fine. Then you go to run the sweep, and you got this, and he splits now up to 6 feet. You're not going to let him stand on your inside shoulder and just stay there. If that end plays on the inside shoulder of the tight end, then the tight end's going to start to widen and force them to do something. So then if you're going to run, then if you're going to sweep from there, he goes down and he goes down. If the end goes inside, the end blocks him, and the wingback goes up to the backer. If he doesn't go inside, he stays there, then the wingback will block him, and he goes on up to block the backer. And that works out pretty well. The other thing that you can't do with that split 6 defense, you can't cover the flat with action passes. Just run a guy out in flat, ride the ball fullback, and just pop it out there, and that has been our approach to that. Okay? Once again, remember how humble I was when I started. I get all excited about something. I want to start with the next in the series of thought processes. We want to run the down option, and it goes like this. And I might well introduce at this time our technique of calling, of communicating. This man is 1. He's 2. He's 3. He's 4. He's 5. The description of that is 1 and 2, we feel, are going to stop the fullback. They're going to stop the first threat in the middle. 3 is going to take the quarterback on the option. 4 is the guy that supports the flank or covers the flat. And 5 is the one that covers the corner. 6 is the free safety, or 6 represents any kind of pursuit that gets to the point of attack so fast that you can't control it. So that if we're going to run the down option, it looks like this. The wingback, now let me just, remember I told you we're going to move the people around? What do you think would happen if I move the wingback up and I move him back? Well, he's got a different kind of angle on that block on 3. And he also has a very special angle on 1. So if he stepped up there and his assignment is go get influence and come on and block 1 or any pursuit off that thing. The end's assignment is gap down, tackle's assignment is gap down. Where'd you hear that before? Figure they could handle this by now. We got every play is they're doing the same thing, and only now we want to make sure that that's kind of sealed off. We'll be more intent on staying with that tackle's block than we ordinarily would. The guard pulls and logs. Log blocking means that he's going to reverse his shoulders. If he was going to kick out in this situation, he'd use his right shoulder right, and kick out. When he logs, he simply uses his left shoulder. But he still gets up in there fairly tight and makes it look like 3 is going to be kicked out. The fullback's assignment is to fake a slash belly, but specifically, he has the free safety. He is responsible for 6. There comes the wingback in motion, just like he did before. He creates a 7 by 4 relationship with the ball, pitch relationship. And the wideout stalks, 5. Quarterback reverse pivots flat and fast. This is not to be confused with cross block. How many of you are aware of our cross block? This is not cross block. This is a 2 It's for faking 2 down, which is a notch outside and it's flat and fast. And the quarterback keeps the ball. Okay, now, the fullback reads 3. If 3 just opens on up there, then he'll run right on up there and block the free safety. If 3 seals, so that he can't get through there, he'll bounce right outside of it and go on up and block the free safety on the outside. This is a loaded option. A loaded option means that 3 is being blocked, as opposed to being just finessed and letting the quarterback read him. Here, 3 is being blocked, and the quarterback recognizes that when he's running a loaded option, he never, ever pitches the ball until 3 is on his back or he's outside of 3. It's got to be done out there. Can't be done inside. And if he sees this man come across, like some of them do, we'll turn and kick him out. And the quarterback will keep the ball right up in behind it. He may actually follow the fullback through the hole, but he will not pitch the ball as long as 3 is out there. If he can get outside of 3, he can often step outside of here. And now, the strong safety's got a problem. You got all this wall off in here. All this wall off in here. And the cornerback is tied up with him. And here's the free safety, strong safety, forgive me, that has the pitch. And the quarterback keeps the ball right up inside of him. And then we have never claimed to be a fancy option operation. I mean, we're not interested in going on down the field and passing the ball. You know, we want to have this decision made, but at the same time, they can parallel one another and get a pitch down the field. But this is called right 82 down option. Now, we've had some luck with this, and certainly some interest with now we're being televised, and we're not going to let that go. I want to know if I'm going to get residuals on those television pictures. Now, when we get this and we're running the down option, we're going to go down. And most of those ends will spill or go right on down and tight. And then he starts to run. It's just a foot race to get to him. If you bring him up on the line of scrimmage up there to begin with, and drop him off, then you got a running start on that foot race. And the guard will pull. If he sees this thing, he's just go around, he'll just turn it around the corner like that, and the fullback just bounce outside of it, run to the free safety, and we've got a pretty good looking play out of that. That's down option. Now the reason I'm fooling with this is I got a limited number of slides here, and I hate to mess them up. And the slides that I have are low bid. I mean, those circles are low bid. I don't know why, but they'll come off if I rub them too hard. So that's why I've got them covered up. Now let's take a look at the other side now. Let's take a look at some of the things that people do. Here's one of them. They'll take that backer right out of there and take this middle backer and put him over here and play him there, or on out wider. They'll play that guy there and that guy there and that guy there. What was it Woody Hayes said? Don't storm walled cities. I'm not interested in making a big deal of it. You want to go over there like that? I'm not going to run the play. And you can take it away. You can't run the down option against that with all those people over there. But look what happens back here. Now, because of this, when we run the option to a wingback without a spread receiver, his assignment is to, if there's two people outside of him that are free, then he'll release outside and go on upfield and take one of them with him. But if there's only one, there he is, one right there, then he'll wall off. Or what happens? It automatically becomes a loaded option. Now, 89, I'm going to show you 89 option, which is the other play off down. Now, 6 and 7, their assignments are to reach. As a matter of fact, just reach all the way across. For just a regular option, not a down option, everybody just reaches towards the point of attack. And when you have two adjacent linemen whose assignments are reach, you can switch assignments. So, and we have to use a call of 6, but anything you said. This means that these two guys trade assignments. If we can get break even with the nose man here like this, fullback now does not run quite as flat as he did for that one. Wingback comes back like that. And that's pretty well walled off. This would be right, 82 down option, on the ball. Check cadence. Everybody knows it's 89 option load off the backside. So he comes out, he sees them all over there. He says 89. Check. And runs it back to this side. How am I doing? What, do you know what time I'm supposed to change? I said, we'll change when I fall flat in my face. What is that? What? I get 50 more minutes? Okay, all right. And then we got another period. Hot dog. How am I doing so far? You guys still awake? I love you. How many are in there? 35 or 40? Okay, hang in there. But I'll tell you, when I stop, really clap loud so they'll think I'm doing a good job. I want to go to the Caribbean next year too. Okay, now going on with new stuff, and once again now I'm showing you all of this can all be done from one great football. You want to know a great football play? Is to run like that. We call that a red formation. Balance. Okay, I got a wing back. I got a spread receiver over here. Can you see it? I must have some. I got to show you this. This may be the best thing I do for you. You want to see a great football play? Run the down option into the sideline with that wing back there. They don't like that. Because first of all, they got all that stuff. They say, hey, the wide side of the field's more. We got Sammy's sideline over there. All that defensive junk that they throw at you. Hey, there's plenty of room to do whatever you want over here on this side. And if you could imagine, and this is what we get. They're all out here to handle this. There's nothing there. He walls off there. He walls off. He goes down. He logs them. Blocks free safety. Ride the ball. Step right on here. It's no wonder that our quarterback looked like a running back. And he can't run as well as I do tonight, following those hot dogs. But there's some of these shots in there that are pretty good. Okay. Now let's go on. One of the newest things that we've have made goes of Sally. Have anybody heard about our Sally? Somebody asked me the other day about why did you call it Sally? Well, this is how old we are. Does anybody remember Sally Rand, the fan dancer? Give your father a call. She was the first wild one. And she'd come out there with fans. Are you with me? And she probably had a bathing suit on up to there, but everybody thought, she'd give it this, and everybody wondered what was, well, you're fooling somebody. So we call it the Sally. It's the same way as we call Riverside. Anybody use the term Riverside at home when you're practicing? Do you use it, Tommy? Well, this is the true story. Fritz Chrysler was coaching in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he went down to see General Neyland coach at Tennessee. You tell me what year it was. A long time ago. And down at Tennessee, they have the practice area that goes right down towards right down towards the river. So when Fritz is there watching them practice, they got down towards the river. General Neyland said, "Riverside!" They swing around and go back the other way. Well, Fritz went back and he started using it. Well, that meant that Biggie Munn got it. So when Biggie Munn went to Michigan State, then there's Frank Cush and Chuck Fairbanks and all of it. They all use it now, and nobody knows what it means. Anyway. So anyway, we call this the Sally, actually I'm going to show you right 81 Sally at 7, and the Sally is now a staple play, and by that I mean it can be run from any formation, from at least 2 different series. I'm going to show you the 80s, from 2 different series, from any formation, to a wingback that's stationary, to a wingback that's up here, to a wingback that's on the line and ineligible. Let's just remember, why don't we do it that way? And move him back. Now, you don't have to run much of this stuff that I've been running without getting a lot of pursuit. You're going to get some folks chasing you. And we're looking for that. And our 81 Sally technique is this. He runs regular belly, not down. He comes in motion. The wingback takes a jab step, gets as much depth as he can. Quarterback reverse pivots, rides the ball, steps back, hands the ball off to the wingback, and that's the technique. Here's the blocking. These people are blocking gap-on area, strong in here. And if that nose man is coming this way at all, and the wingback's going to, or the foreman's going to block him, if there's nobody there, then he'd blow out and kick that backer. The tight end's going to block firm. The back 3 people are going to step and cut. And their assignment is to read that man in odd spacing. Take a step and come on back. And if this man reads this as pass protection, which it looks like, and goes outside like that, then the 7-man will just turn him out. And the minute that the 6-man sees this, he releases on up and blocks the backer. Hopefully the nose man is chasing this thing like that. And it opens up a significant hole. Well, the problem with it is, of course, that, well, what happens if that guy backs on? He could back off and get in the hole, but at the same time, you guy's got a running shot at him, and if he doesn't handle it right away, you got a problem. Here's what it would look like. With even spacing. everybody takes a step like this, and now they read him. Generally speaking, the outside man will be blocked by the 7-man, and either this, when the 5-man is uncovered, either the 5-man or the 6-man release to the backer. If, for example, he goes, that man moves on down with the action, then the 6-man would step back, the 5-man steps in here, he's coming on down him, he slips his head on the other side and just absorbs him on in there like that, and the 6-man releases to the backer. Take the jab step and there's an opportunity to run the ball. This is the Sally. It's been a good football play for us and something that you would that you'd want to know about. Now, there's no such thing. I can't. You know, the program in there says I'm going to talk the first period on the running game, the second period of the passing game. I can't do it that way. Because I would be hurting you if I did that. So I want to show you the next step that we're following along here with. Now 6 is a very important guy in defensing that flank, and if he plays it just right, he gives a little bit of ground, he reads that, he says run, and he comes roaring on up in there from the inside out. He can do a lot of damage to your flank play. He can check the quarterback off, make sure he doesn't overrun the quarterback. Then when the ball's pitched, he runs that down. And we've seen it happen. And we know that he's active, and that's one thing that people have done to us to try to defense us, to jump on us. So when we get that, and we do, then we want to throw the keep pass jet. And that's what this looks like. Wingback goes right on in there, just like he's going to block that backer. He goes down, guard pulls up. Where have you seen that before? Is that exactly what we did? It is. It's exactly the same thing. Release this kid out here like that wide out. Only now, instead of going out for a pitch relationship, the left halfback turns in to block at the flank. Quarterback comes out there a little deeper now, rides the ball, gets out behind it, and then it makes it look as much like the down option as he can, and then this guy just takes off. Now we've got one of those. I got 2 or 3 of those, and there's nobody near him. As a matter of fact, he's so open that the quarterback gets buck fever. He can't believe that he's that open. And he makes a little snowball and gives it one of those. Now, if the free safety is not fooled by this, and suppose he doesn't fill in that time, and he goes like that, then the wingback just curls out in there somewhere and finds the open spot, and he does a 14-yard out on the sideline. So we've got a reasonable chance of running the ball. Finding somebody to throw, and the fullback goes through the hole and hooks up anywhere in the open spot. So that is that's the keep pass jet. Are there any questions so far? Well, let me go on and I'll give you one more shot here before we take the break. I will show you the waggle in the next period, but the waggle run has become a very important football play for us. And once again, I don't think you need a great runner, but your guards cannot be sumas. Let me give you an idea of what I mean. There's a technique through football everywhere, I guess, that all the good defensive players play where? They play defense. Well, if you don't have very many linemen, and then all your good players are over there playing defense, then on offense you got a bunch of sumas. Big fat guys just stand there, you know, like this. They block pass protection, do nothing else. And that's a problem. We don't want that. We'd rather have smaller linemen that could run. And I don't like sumas anyway. So that would be a disadvantage to what we're doing, because you got to have people that can run. You got to have, you got to have, and I think this probably shows it. Well, you run enough stuff like that, and you get. I've started to move those people out. And they're starting to move out, and then this guy wants to go across the line. He says, I'm not letting that little wingback block me, and now you can't block below the waist. And he steps outside, and the guy's a big fella, goes across it and bothers you that way. And this one's going to be, they're working their way out here. Here is waggle block. This would be red 29 waggle block. Right halfback's in motion. He's taking off to fake that way. The front side guard pulls. This is different from the waggle blocking, but I'll explain that later. He pulls, and he gets a step, and he reads what's happening out here. I'm starting to sag. He reads what's happening out here. He sees this man open up. He's just kicking right on out. Backside guard pulls, and he reads what the foreman is doing. If he kicks him out, the foreman goes right through the hole and turns to the inside. The fullback comes down up here like he's going to run a waggle. He skids off, and he turns to the outside. So you end up with this. Quarterback comes out, he fakes the sweep, starts out no deeper than 6 yards, starts to go, and when he sees this, he just steps right up there, turns and runs. And we've had a lot of luck with this. This is part of our waggle, and I think maybe this is as good a time as any to take a little break. And then we'll come back and I'll give you the rest of the passing stuff. And